So, good morning for some of our audience and good afternoon to the others. And you are all warmly welcome to the 9th INGENIUM Staff Academy webinar. My name is Tiina Lukkainen. I work as a senior lecturer at Xamk, but also for the INGENIUM Staff Academy. And the main objective of our staff academy is to bring teachers and lecturers, research professionals, and also professionals from working life together to share all our best practices and learn from others. We have live staff academy during the 10 days of INGENIUM twice a year. But we have so many excellent pedagogical practices and innovations that we wanted to showcase as many of them as possible from all our partner universities. And therefore, we decided to start this series of webinars. And today, we have a very interesting topic, artificial intelligence. And three experts discussing different aspects of using AI at work and also in education. Our first speaker, CTO Kimmo Kaskikallio, comes from EY Nordics, and he will talk about the present and the future of AI at workplaces. And secondly, Ulisses Moliterno de Camargo, I hope I got it right, will talk about how AI methods can multiply our teaching impact. And our third speakers come from our Italian partner university, Mariano Pierantozzi and Miriam Dignaccio, and they will talk about student-centered teaching with AI tools. And now I would like to give Kimmo the floor, and the presentations will take about 20 minutes. And after that, we have 10 minutes for discussion and questions. And of course, also during the presentation, you can comment in the chat. But Kimmo, the floor is yours now.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me just...
I'll just stop my share. There you go.
Desktop 2. All right. Can you all see, hear and see me?
Yes.
And the presentation as well, I guess.
Yes.
Good. Okay. So as said, my name is Kimmo Kaskikallio and CTO at EY Nordics. And what I'm gonna do the next maybe 20 minutes is talk about the AI in the working life and coming from the EY. I don't know how many of you know anything about EY. We are one of the big four companies, so large accounting firm, but also doing a lot of consulting, and AI is one of our key topics for the workplace transformation as we talk about it, and the idea in here is to talk about the AI in the working life with the idea of shaping the future with confidence, and that kind of hides the idea of we are able to shape how the tomorrow looks like, and the key message here is about that. Here's the video. It is actually generated by AI fully, and I asked AI to visualize that how does the summer vacation for the CTO looks like, and that's the AI's vision. That's probably something that you do. Of course, the sad thing is that it's quite a lot true. During the last summer, I did a lot of vibe coding at the sides of the pool, which is a large transformation not just in personal life, but also from the technology importance point of view. So the AI has come to the personal life, but it has also pretty much coming through that to the professional life. And this is one example of it. And the second view, I don't know how good the resolution of the video is over the Zoom here, but the level of details on the AI video generation is amazingly get better during the couple of years. And in this example, you can really see that how it has emerged. But if we are starting to talk about the AI in general, and it's kind of an interesting technology that it kind of boils down to the thing that can we actually transform the world through questions. So the user interface for the AI is a very simple, typically very simple user interface that we see a prompt where you ask a question. And it has turned out that it's rather easy to answer to the questions, but it's rather complex to get the answers right. And the more right you need to be, the harder it will get. And that is the tricky part for getting the AI and understanding where and how do you actually apply, how right you need to be with your answers. It will also always answer, but the level of accuracy is varying a lot, and that is one of the big challenges for the AI in the future. And if we are talking about the future, it's very hard to predict how does the future look like. And what we have done in the EY, I give you a URL where you will get the presentation later on. If you visit this URL, I will show you shortly on a short video of predicting the future, 4 different scenarios. So how does the future look like? And it's not said that it's a one future ahead in the working life of AI. And we are talking about 4 possible scenarios for the future. So I will show you a short video on those scenarios, and you can take the link and learn a little bit more about those scenarios and the theory behind the scenarios. Let's see if this loads.
Imagine 4 possible futures for AI. There's no single path. Rather, there's a spectrum of possibilities. Straight. AI's failures become public. Trust in AI erodes. Governments step in. Innovation stalls with increased regulation. Growth. AI accelerates rapidly. Capabilities evolve. Innovation explodes. Businesses become increasingly efficient, driving performance. Society thrives. Transform. A groundbreaking shift in AI. Single-employee AI-led startups. AI and humans collaboratively reimagine what's possible. Creativity flourishes. Limitless potential. Collapse. Concentrated power drives AI winners and losers. Tech monopolies grow, market value collapses. Jobs hang in the balance. You have the power to make decisions today that will shape your tomorrow. EY teams can help you prepare, no matter which future unfolds.
All right. So scenario thinking is something to help you envision what could happen in the future. And I said we don't know how it will unfold, but it's good to prepare for it. Earlier this year we had a presentation with Eva Kuoppala at PEDA Forum about the work-life transformation. And one slide out of that conference is some data points here that based on the economic forum, 25% or nearly 25% of the jobs globally will change by 2027. And the technology and the AI has a big impact on that particular number. There's going to be a shift on the jobs and the way that people work and do work, and AI again has a big impact on most probably on those changes. We also at EY has done quite a lot studies on the. I will show you a couple of data points further on that. So if you look for the companies, only 30, even though that we see this seismic shift in the working life, only 32% of the organizations has kind of integrated and strategic competence development programs which kind of drives the change in the working place. So we see a big change, envision big change in the work-life balance, but still many of the companies has not prepared that so much at this point of time. And the data points that we are talking about, we have been doing a work reimagine study from 2020. It's an annually report that comes out, and the latest one was last autumn. We have 17,000 employees and 1,590 employers, and in 23 countries. So we basically interviewed the employees and the employers, and then divided the outcomes of it. And the idea here is that we are talking about the talent advantage, which comes from 5 pillars, and there are rewards related things. There's a learning and lifelong learning skills and career pathways. So how do you build when you get the people in, how do you develop them further? There's a culture and workplace, which is a very important element. There's a talent, health, and flow. So people are constantly changing their working places. And interestingly, of course, the 5th pillar, the work, technology, and generative AI has risen to the equation as well as one element to look for. And there's a big, why it's so important for companies to have the holistic view and talent advantage is basically that it makes sense in the business wise. So the companies that are looking for through these 5 lenses and are acting on it has huge potential. They are 7.8 times more successfully navigated through the external pressures that we all face at the moment. There's 6.5 times productivity improved in the past 2 years on those companies that has focused on the talent and the skills and the holistic view. So there's a clearly a business imperative why it makes sense to focus on people, skills, talent, and generative AI comes, and the AI comes there as one element to look for. So for this event, what I did for you is I created a time machine for you. So this is a time machine that goes from 2020 to 2025. And it kind of illustrates you the development of the AI and what happens there. And the challenging part for the humans to understand this shift that where we are is the nature of the change. For humans, it's very hard to understand the explosive growth of anything. Our brains live in the linear world, and what you can see in this graph as it develops, the training cost. You can see the curve. How much does it cost to train the AI models that we are today using? It has exploded to more than 300 million. The intelligence has growth as well, so the inference speed, so how the speed of acting with it, and also the increased electricity consumption of this technology. So it surpassed the Moore's law in terms of performance development on the AI. And it's very hard for people to understand the pace of the change that we are talking about with the technology and what does it allow us to do. What was impossible a year ago is fully possible today. And that's something that we all need to bear in mind. So let's put some numbers behind this development. So 11 billion, that's the data center that you can see on the picture. That's AWS data center in US. It cost 11 billion, one data center. Only during this year, 360 billion is the investment that the big four tech companies, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Meta, is putting on the AI and AI development. It's a huge investment, and we are seeing the rebuild the whole cloud infrastructure as we know it. Minus 70%. That is the cost of top-tier AI models to use them. So at the same time, we see extremely big investments. We see the price of using the AI dropping drastically. 800 million. That's the number of OpenAI ChatGPT users, and it doubled this year. So the usage growth is enormous. Even though the prices are dropping drastically, the number of users getting in and starting to use the AI is extremely high. And one of the driving elements at this point of time is the agentic AI, which is like a AI that reasons and acts and with the human in the loop. So instead of you having an advisor or chatbot, it is something that it triggers on automatically and reasons, plans, acts, does activities for you without you triggering the activities. And that's the big theme on the business environments today. So if we look for the results and the value, in the left-hand side, you can see that there's a big, whatever study you are going to read, there's a huge potential for the AI value. However, in the right-hand side, there's a lot of challenges for people, organizations to capture this value. For example, the MAT report recently published, 95% of the companies are not able to capture the value of the AI. And what do we believe? What's happening here is that we are in a shift of thinking what AI actually is. Many of the organizations think AI as a tool, whereas we should start thinking AI as a transformative capability. So it will change if in the past people were executing the processes presented with data powered by technology. We are going to see the shift where the technology powered by data is executing the processes and people are managing those processes. And it's a seismic shift on the way of thinking of AI. It's not a tool, it's a transformative engine for this change. And just to make the point, what does it actually mean? For this event, I did a little bit work on my sofa with my mobile phone, and in the left-hand side you can see one prompt where I created a study on the university digital platforms and the idea of transforming from the LMS systems to lifelong learning platforms. It was one prompt. I created that. I fed that to the other AI, 2 prompts, and this is a live. You're going to use the URL seen here. I created the platform where I can visualize that. What would it mean? What could it mean if we get students universities, employers, and policymakers on this one platform, and seeing the data in different lenses from all of those stakeholders. And if you click or use the URL, you can go and test it by yourself. The video is showing you, how would it look for employer, how would it look for policymakers, and so forth. Same data, but different angle and different motives how to do that. Couple of words. I think I'm getting end of my time. Just hurrying up a little bit. We at EY, we have been on this transformation for implementing the AI for quite a long time. In 2024, we established our all-in strategy, which is a kind of a leading and where we are implementing and building AI very, very heavily. We have two main AI services, EYQ and Copilot, that we are using. We have trained 400,000 people on using the AI and putting that at the front of the consulting work that we go and deliver. What we have learned out of that journey, 6 learning points. It needs to be leading from the top. So there need to be executive, must be engaged on whatever you do. There need to be that buy-in from there. Planting the flag as a central marketplace for AI. So publishing the AI capabilities in a central place where people can find it, to tap into that and use it. Mandatory mastery. So option is not working here. This is an important element, and everybody need to learn AI. So we need to put a little bit push on there. BD structure. So self-cannibalization is necessity. It's not about what did we did in the past. There's a new way, and we need to cannibalize our own way of working. It needs to be built on the culture and the adaptation. Learn by doing. Walk the talk with our functions. So it's not about the general individual value. It's about the transforming individual functions and function-specific elements. And finally, flip the execution path. And that's the idea of transformation over use cases. So if you go and implement AI on a use case basis, it is a sea of possibilities, and you need to flip your thinking on what makes sense and transform your way of operating instead of focusing on individual spot use cases. And that's about what I had on my mind as an introduction to the topic.
Thank you very much. Very impressive numbers you had there. And I'm sure there will be big consequences also in education. Now we have a little time for questions, please. So just open your mic.
Not totally clear. I'm happy. It couldn't be that.
Yes, futures are hard to imagine nowadays.
Yeah. Maybe it was too much.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I was wondering about the last point that you brought up in your last slide about not applying the AI to specific cases, but like do like a whole transformation. How do you envision that exactly?
Yes, it basically, this last element boils down to this idea of flipping the execution path. So as long as your mindset is in the idea that AI is a tool, and I have my existing way of working, and I curve out on this step in my current processes and try to automate that with the AI. It might be a very valid element, but you will be in a sea of opportunities and sea of use cases. whereas you need to actually think about it. Could you transform altogether the way that you operate and work? Maybe you can even skip some of those tasks and steps. Maybe the AI can, I don't know, I'm getting it out of my head, but maybe for the learning elements, I was kind of trying to illustrate it also with my demo here, that instead of going a long development cycle of different peoples, maybe the AI can help me to experiment with this idea in a very short manner, instead of I trying to improve the steps and levels, that how do I get and put the developers to do more fast on those activities that I was envisioning. Here I flipped the whole thing, that I, in my sofa with my mobile, was able to create the technical specification and market study, and even created the mock-up on and start feeling and how could it look like if I would have this kind of a platform available. So I didn't try to smoothen the implementation work in individual steps, but I changed the way that I operate and create those definitions, what I'm looking for.
I see.
Does it make sense?
Okay. Mm-hmm. So it will just depend on each sector how the transformation would happen.
It is exactly like that. And we believe that you need to go, I mean, if you go AI for certain function, and see if a finance function works differently than the teachers and the others. So you need to be very function specific. It's not about putting a generic AI tool in place and it will create value for it. Doesn't. You need to go function specific. You need to rethink how this function works.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay, Eva, do you have a question?
Yes, thank you very much, Kimmo. This is very, very inspiring. And I have one question for you. We're here from representatives from the universities. How would you advise us to educate our students for this kind of reality and the future? What would you think that is the key aspect or the key aspects we would be focusing on? Thanks.
That's a good one, as always. Thank you, Eva. Yeah, what I think that the AI will unlock a lot of innovation power, and I kind of think that one big lever for universities is, of course, to create people for established companies, but also create a platform for startups and new ideas to form and grow. And I think putting the AI in the hands of the people in a right manner, helping on their studies, but also helping them to innovate with the technology. I think Europe definitely needs these diginated people a lot. The division between the Europe's digital platforms and the US and the others, it's enormous. And we need to we need to be able to get and close that gap. And I think that the younger new generation for new ideas and using the AI, not just innovating new services and working this way, would be the best use of the learning budgets for society, which is, I believe, the purpose of university training. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Kimmo, thank you very much. I'd actually like to follow on the last question. I'm in education, so my core business is preparing teachers. But I'm thinking this more broadly. I'm thinking that businesses in general, whatever they are, they're outcome oriented, they're output oriented. So
yes,
to some extent, I imagine that it really doesn't matter how the teams work with AI as long as the output is the desired output.
Yes.
I'm simplifying a bit just to get to the point. In the university, and I think that's what probably something that Eva was also trying to bring. Our business is to make the students learn. So sometimes we want to focus more on the process. So I guess my question is, how can business and universities work together so that the messages that we send to the students in terms of values, principles, and so on are not contradictory? Because if we're saying to the students that I really want you to learn the competence and the development, and I'm putting more weight on the process and the learning than necessarily in the output that you deliver, but if when they go to the companies, if there's a contradictory message, I mean, I think that this is the case. I'm imagining like you just really want the output and the outcome as quickly and as effective as possible. So where those messages might be contradictory, what would be your take on how can we try and manage that potential misalignment of values and principles?
Super great questions, and I don't know if I have a clear answer that, but what I kind of was intrigued with this I mean I'm not a teacher and I don't know your business, but I know mine, and when I was reading, and we can deliver you also this lifelong learning platform specification we created with the AI. One element on it, I think universities and companies could get together, because one of the challenges for the students is that how do they ensure they have an insecurity on do I get employed when I'm done my studies? And I understand that there might be a contradict between companies' way of working or demand versus the learning curriculum, that even though that the companies, they have maybe this narrow need, but in the curriculum you need to actually put the wider element. But if you could, with this kind of a linkage, give more demand view for the students, universities and policymakers, that where is the demand going in employers more closely, that even that information sharing could help all of the parties to plan better and maybe to get exposed earlier on those ideas, what is happening in the employers world. So it's probably this alignment or information sharing and maybe even more close collaboration. And even though that you might think that it's the outcome driven, it's also in consulting business, it's about the process and way you get to the end point. So whenever we come and present something, we need to back it up with the process and the actual data. So we have a common elements, but I understand in universities it's more wider than in the companies, the evidence gathering and that systematic approach. But this collaboration, if you go and visit this Envol Campus Flow app, SkillBridge Europe, maybe that could be one element moving forward.
Thank you very much, Kimmo.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kimmo, for the very interesting presentation. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
And now we shall move on to our second topic. So how AI methods can multiply our teaching impact. So Ulisses, the floor is yours.
So hello everyone, my name is Ulisses, Uli for shorter, and I will talk today about an idea actually that started to connect with INGENIUM. It was a model to be served as a workshop. And like it was said, we have so many interesting workshops that this idea now I am presenting to you as a talk. So I had the challenge of making it interesting for you, but still informative, and I hope you benefit like I wish you would from a real workshop. So I am providing you the slides afterward, And this talk is basically a roadmap, so you have an understanding of my view on the topic and how we as teachers and as workers as well, we can bring AI into our daily lives and multiply our impact. In this case, our teaching impact, but it's general, anyone can benefit from that. So I will jump straight into the talk and I will leave my introduction to the last slide so we gain time. So what's this concept of 10 times engineer? So the idea is that, well, in Silicon Valley, we have these people even almost whispering around the corners about 10 times engineers. And who are these people? These are people that they work so good that they are like 10 people in one. And this is not new. We always have had these people. And in technology, we always had this type of senior professionals. But now with AI, we are getting closer to have more of these people that can actually benefit and boost from AI and improve not their work only, but their impact. So that's the idea how the workshop came into my mind. Like I work with technology and I have met senior engineers that are 10 times people in a room. So how can we actually have our teaching, or we as teachers can be 10 time teachers? That's the idea of my talk. So 10 times is not about working harder, it's about causing impact. So I don't want us to work harder, to work more, but I want our work to reach more people, to be more effective, and to actually make the bridges with what you just heard from Kimmo in the last talk. It's also about leveraging who you are already and leveraging your skills and your ability to work. So hopefully you have the idea that it's about multiplying the experience that you already have as an expert of your domain. So with that in mind, my talk will cover 4 blocks. And the blocks are first the pedagogical assumptions of this workshop, and then the technical assumptions of this workshop. And then I will talk about my own teaching practice as an example for you guys teaching practice. And then I will close with my take-home message, which is personalization at scale, and a little call to action, which is we all need to experiment, share, and co-develop the ideas discussed here. That's why the goal of this was to be served as a workshop, because it's really about developing the ideas. I'm just giving you a couple of elements that work for myself. So in the first box, I want to talk about the so-called skills of the future. And it's something that I always wondered, like, okay, how do we prepare ourselves and therefore our students for tools that we don't even know exist yet? Like Kimmo said, the power of the exponential, I believe in that very much. And we have it coming and we don't know how it will even look. So nothing new. We always had technological revolutions, and the idea is basically that on top of the hard skills that different domains will have, we always talked about soft skills. Have you heard this? Soft skills pay the bills? Yes, that's the point. So people that are capable to communicate, to collaborate, that have emotional intelligence, capable to adapt, highly resilient, and capable to show empathy for others, those are the people that are easy to work with and people that you want usually to work with. Then as technology evolves, we start talking also about future-proof skills. And we talk more and more about the power of creativity and innovation, the power of thinking critically, the power of learning for life, the power of telling good stories, and the power of having a human-centered mindset. So all of those skills, I call them future-proof because no matter to which direction the AI revolution will go, those will still be needed and still will be very useful for us and our students. Then we enter this third bubble, which is the newest one, which is the AI skills. And it's what we need to develop as teachers, but also we need to instigate and develop in our own students. Those are AI literacy, ethical use of AI, governance, and learning to collaborate with human AI systems and learning to enhance our creativity, communication, future soft and hard skills. So I hope this slide makes the point through that the way that we prepare for technology that doesn't even exist yet is by having this very complete tool belt that we need to be capable to pass to our students. Okay, how do we do that? Then we come to the actual second box, which is the technological assumptions. So one thing that the senior engineers they have at hand is that they succeed because they know their craft, they are great at their domain knowledge, but they know the tools, especially the AI tools. Those are tech savvy people. Teachers usually they master their craft, they know pedagogy, they know the techniques, they have long experience. But if they are not working on tech sector, usually they lag behind on the tech tools, on the savviness of using AI. So a big part of my claim here is that we need to learn the tools in order to be capable to incorporate them in our work and use with our students. So my idea here is that we need to divide and we need to know our toolbox, and we have countless thousands options in this toolbox, but we don't need to go there to the complicated. We can master the basic tools, and this gets us really far already. We need to be capable to operate the tools, and we need to be capable to leverage our own skills by operating the right tool for the right task. So makes sense, right? So we will only be capable to become this kind of 10 times professional when we can actually use our pedagogical expertise, our skills to facilitate dynamics, to tackle students in a way that we can operate and incorporate technology. So that's the second pillar of this workshop. There's no escape from that. We need to become tech savvy. We need to know the tools. Okay, so how do we do that? So this is the aspect of my talk that it's basically a roadmap. So you can see here in this matrix that we have the 3 rows, like how do we know the toolbox, how we operate the tools, and how we can leverage our own skills. And knowing the toolbox, we just need, well, we need to identify the options. We need to know the key tools and know what they are good at. I will say a couple of examples in a second. We need to spot the use cases, and we need to link the tools to the actual type of task that we want to do with them. So we need to be capable to identify which type of task demands which type of tool. And finally, something that we can't really escape completely, we need to study the manuals. So we need to dig deeper into how AI operates. What are the best practices? What are the limits? And what are the pros and cons? Then we need to know how to operate the tools. And basically, we need to know the basics of prompting. And if you were to learn one skill in this matrix, I would say that's the skill you should go for. But mastering prompting is only one of the skills. We also need to be capable to know, okay, giving my knowledge about how to prompt, giving the options of models, I decide to use ChatGPT. What are the models that I have available for the job? ChatGPT has many models like reasoning models, single shot models. We have different types of AI models best suited for different tasks. So you need to know how to pick the right model. And also you need a little more advanced steps, not now, but on your journey. You need to be capable to tackle context and memory. Those are important things so we can tweak AI to the direction we want it to go. Think that you are a movie director and AI is your actor. Think that you are a manager and AI is your team, a team full of junior people that you need to brief the cases very properly so they can actually get to do the job. And finally, then you start to be well equipped to leverage yourself. And for that, I recommend that we need to tap into AI hubs, educational AI hubs that are actually built for teachers and education. This answers the question that João made to Kimmo, how we can actually mix the business outcomes with the learning outcomes that we are after. Also, we need to be capable to learn from experts. We have here 3 or 4 experts talking, and we have a full room of experts on many topics, so we need to change information. And finally, which is the take-home message of my talk, we need to build our own systems. That's why I'm not even focusing so much in showing you my systems. And the goal of the workshop would be, let's help you build your own systems, because that's how we can integrate AI into our workflow in a way that it's meaningful for us. Okay, so a couple of resources just to show you. I hope you see my screen really entirely. So I have accumulated these just because I think most of people are using OpenAI, Google, or Anthropic, some model of these companies. And if you are using Copilot, you are actually using ChatGPT. So I think those materials cover most of the take I wanted to have here. So those are the essentials. I recommend you to have a look and try to understand about AI. So when I share the PDF with you, those are all clickable links, and I will show you especially the good stuff. So one good stuff is the OpenAI Academy, for example. I will click, and hopefully you will see my browser. And then the OpenAI Academy is just a bunch of materials built by OpenAI, coordinated by OpenAI, and built by the community. And you can find materials both for work and education, both for no higher education and the higher education. And inside higher education, you can find a great number of materials for you to use in your own lecture, for example. What else do I have here? Well, I have these chats for educators that if you click, OpenAI has curated many chats that educators have been having with AI. And then you can see lots of diversity, how teachers have been prompt engineering for their cases. So you can open, and actually if you click any of these, it will open you a chat that you can start experimenting on your own ChatGPT. And the last one that I will show here, we have the 100 chats for students. Those are chats that students themselves built to learn their own courses. And this is a curated collection made by OpenAI of clever ideas that students had. So what I'm trying to give you here is food for thought that we can find materials that will help us develop our own systems. I have done the same exercise for Google materials and for Anthropic materials. So you can see here in Cloud, this white paper, how educators are using Cloud. So they did a giant analysis of data about how people working in education are using their models. Okay, later you can dig into that and see what I prepared here for you. Okay, what else? Then when we kind of know the assumptions, we know that we need to learn how to operate the machine, what we can start doing with them. So my talk now splits into the main tasks of a teacher, that it's basically preparation work, delivery of lectures or delivery of experiences, and then assessing and reflecting with our students. So basically you can understand this as co-creating with AI, co-facilitating with AI, and co-reflecting the process with the students and AI. So those are just brain teasers for you, because I know we will have different tasks to do. But AI can pump us or boost us to actually define approach, learning outcomes, create a long list of resources, design activities, and most importantly, pack our stuff around reusable materials. AI can boost us a lot to actually provide personalization and more interesting lecturing by workshops, project-based, real-world-based, simulations, coding labs, many type of activities. And finally, AI can help us to provide formative feedback, large-scale, personalized, individualized for
Secondo me sì.
students. Sorry?
No, a me mi serve più per le lezioni che fare più, molto di più per le lezioni mi aiuta.
Sorry, someone audio is escaping through. I hope it's not escaping for everyone. Okay. So my point is, with AI at hand, we can start actually working on more interesting education. So in this graph, you can see here an evolution of how much student independence the method has, and how much real world those activities are. Then here we have the ones like theoretical or an informal lectures, the more let's call old school methods that students have less independence and not so connected with the real world. But don't mistake me, very important. And all the way to very practical activities such as hackathons and more company market related, industry related activities. But all of these activities, we are not developing these alone. For example, if you click here, the hackathons, you will see actually materials that I prepared for you from the OpenAI that they have a pretty good plan how you can run a hackathon with AI and how you can make this event more interesting for students. So I am serving materials that I would serve for you in the workshop. Why I'm doing that? Because I want you to start building your own systems. So I will very briefly cover a bit of my own system, how it works. So I use more tools than that, but with this basic stack, I get really far. So I am a ChatGPT guy. I could be a Gemini, Anthropic, Cloud, or any other type. And you can see here that I only have paid plans for ChatGPT that I pay myself. And I have a Copilot license that Xamk covers because I am part of a pilot of using AI in our company. So those are the only things that I am on a paid plan. All the rest you can get around with the free tier. And I use ChatGPT as my pair worker of choice, so my conversational partner. And I also use Gemini and Copilot because they offer different perspectives. I use ClickUp to build my second digital brain. And then when operating with students, I use Notebook ML. I will show you in a second what's that. And I allow students and stimulate students and prepare students to use ChatGPT and Copilot. So I don't fear AI and I want my students to really use that. And then we use the same tools to co-reflect and to access feedback, all these types of meta-reflection activities that I want my students to develop. So let me show very briefly. I am with 17 minutes, so I am about to end. But I will show you one example of how I started this lecture. So I really started with, hey, you know my teaching style and courses, help me here. And then I just paused the message briefing, and I paused actually the email that I was invited for this event here. And I let AI help me brief the case. AI gave a very short-sighted view on the topic. So I kept talking my own ideas, etc., and so forth. So far, everybody does that. What I want to emphasize here is that I have a system that I develop my courses as projects. So you can see here the courses I am lecturing currently. And know randomly, if you check my folder structure, I have the very same structure. And if you check my tabs here on my browser, it has the same structure. And why is that? It's because I am building something that it's called my second brain, which is where I take notes about everything I do. So you can see here, it's more my mental process of thinking other materials, but do you recognize this slide? Yes, I refactor everything. And if you see the second brain, you see that I have notes about everything, including my courses here. And then when I enter my courses, I can see my pedagogical approaches, the syllabus of my courses. So all of my materials are pretty accessible. And why I do that? It's because then I can actually feed AI and connect AI to that. And then I can tell AI things like, hey, you know myself, you know my teaching style, and you know my courses. And so I don't explode time, let me jump to another interesting thing, the Notebook ML. So how I let my students actually benefit from the same. So my students benefit from the same by I allow them to create learning environments. And Google Notebook LM, it's a very interesting AI. It's an AI that it's a conversational chat that will operate only on the materials you provide. So I provide my students with materials that I call AI food. And AI food is the slides of my lectures and everything that the students need. And then they can actually talk with AI in this controlled world that AI is using only the resources I am giving. And then they can have this more interesting learning environment that this is a business course that they were seeing the 5 core parts of a business, and they could access different glossary, and they can actually see how we create value in business, how we perform sales, etc., and so forth. So they have a very interesting mental model of what we covered in classroom. And at any point, if they are interested to dig more, they just click this item and the AI will continue the conversation based on my materials. So it's a really, really interesting way to amplify my own lectures so the students have access to more information. You can generate audio. I will not show that because my time is to explode, but you can generate podcasts of the lecture and students can hear later. So my students are very shy. They are Finnish people, and oftentimes they don't want to give a seminar. So we are experimenting in the AI course. Instead of delivering a seminar, they are delivering a podcast about topics that they are building using this tool. And the assignment is that every student will listen to the podcasts and they will collect, we will vote what was the best podcast, etc., and so forth. So to wrap up, and that's my last slide, what I wanted to bring you is the idea of the workshop that we need first and foremost to experiment, and so we can leverage our own expertise. In order to truly leverage our expertise, we need to know the basics, both pedagogical and technological, and that it's to your taste how deep you want to go in the rabbit hole. But I showed here in these slides a path that should get you covered and pretty far. Then it's about sharing our experiences and co-developing our ideas, and never fear the future and think, will AI replace us? I think the real question should be, how we will learn and adapt to operate it so it can multiply us. And I finish and open for questions with my last slide, which is actually my introduction. Here at Xamk, I help students to grow into adaptable professionals by combining their hard skills with curiosity, creativity, and a future-ready mindset. And I am really interested in the human side of technology, how we can leverage technology to actually fulfill our mission as teachers. And I'm more than happy to connect. So you can find me on LinkedIn by my first name, or you can reach me by email by this email. And my PDF will find ways to reach you after this talk here. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you liked. I enjoyed very much, and I would love to hear your questions now. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. There was really a lot of food for thought. We have a little bit of time for a question. Anyone?
Yeah, I have a question, if you might. First, sorry for not having my camera on. Ulisses, thank you again for the wonderful presentation. I found it very interesting, especially the second brain part. I mean, this is, wow, good stuff. My question is very simple. Have you turned off the data sharing, the model training option in ChatGPT because you mentioned that you're putting in some sensitive data in there?
Yes, that's a very good point. And that's part of why we need to know the tools so we know what we are doing. And so I share my work on two venues here. My conversations with the ChatGPT, first, yes, I turn off that option. And second, I don't share any internal or student data on purpose, just so I am on the safe side. Also at Xamk, we have pretty, not strict, but pretty talked over regulations about how we behave with AI and data, data security, and especially how we don't breach data outside of the boundaries. In this sense, I'm happy that I have Copilot also for that side. So I work a lot with personas. So I try to, instead of having data about my students there, I try to have personas working in there. And finally, when I need to actually boost feedback and enter student input to those models, then I always anonymize and I always have the sharing. I am not sharing with OpenAI. Every big provider will have some sort of switch off. Alternatively, you can have pretty powerful models nowadays running on your own machine. Like if you learn about open models, stuff like Hugging Face, you will learn about even DeepSeek, which is a Chinese model that we never know exactly what's going on. You can have it running on your own machine, and you can have it running a little more safely. So very good point. I would say that the second brain, you really need to play careful with these points of data privacy. But also, let's try not to fear so much data breach. So I am also, I am kind of a student coach or student coordinator. Here in Finnish, we call it OVA. And for that side, I don't play AI, because for that side of my job, I have pretty personal conversations with the students. So I need to dose, and it's very good if your institution especially gives training about data privacy and how you should actually manage that. I hope I answered your question, but those would be my points on how you actually don't take much risks.
You did, yeah. Thank you very much again, Ulisses.
Thank you. Una, if you have a quick questions, one more.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Julie, for that very thought-provoking presentation. And clearly, you're coming from the perspective of a pedagogist, as am I with my question. And I suppose while generative AI presents all sorts of very exciting potential for us, I suppose I would like to make the distinction sometimes between student performance. So I'm taking a student-focused question here, student performance versus student learning. So the idea is that sometimes in the here and now, they can do a really, really good performance on something because they have access to information. But actually, when you go back afterwards, it hasn't really been learned because they can't replicate. And I suppose I'm wondering, have you given this any thought, or where can you find information? Because I fully expect generative AI to be within the lived experience, the professional lived experience of my students into the future. But how can we leverage it to make sure that it supports learning rather than displaces learning?
Yes, very good
question
point.
Makes sense.
Makes all the sense. I don't know if I'm capable to answer that right now, but I would love to open up this as a chat. But I will try to give some pointers. So you are absolutely right that performance doesn't equal learning. While we want them to perform, especially on their jobs, I want them to be capable to learn. So the skills that I am after in my students are the ability to learn, and more important, the ability to evaluate and self-access their learning ability, if that makes sense. So I want them to learn to question their learning process. And if they are to learn something from me, I hope they will learn in 4 years, more or less, they are hitting the market, and they will come to this world where they need to learn by themselves, by doing, and in a different environment. So I keep telling them, if you don't keep in education, I will be your last teacher. So how do you learn by yourself with quality? So those are the dimensions that I try to open up and that I think that matters. So if I use the word performance, I am meaning broadly and being capable to reflect and actually be critical about your own performance and about your own processes, and learning through it is the actual skill I am after. And being more pragmatic about your question, I think the path to that, I don't have a solid answer, but I would think the assessment techniques that we usually do with our own methods, so basically Bloom's taxonomy and this type of more pedagogical approach, we have by the AI now ability to actually open up these dimensions and try to see if students are not only absorbing information, but if they are capable to reflect, to act, to digest, and all of these Bloom verbs that we are used. So long story short, I would explore conversational ways that AI can debrief with the student, formative feedback, that the student would see the path, what actually I just went through. Of course, it's way more complex than that, but I think those are the pointers. Just to make the point that you are absolutely right about learning doesn't equal performing always, and we need to guarantee they meet both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That is a very interesting discussion. And like you said, maybe you can carry on in the chat.
Yeah, exactly that. I will answer anything, and please do contact with me, and please post questions here. While I listen to the next talk, I chat a bit here. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much. So now it is time for our third performance by our Italian partners. So welcome Mariano Pierantozzi and
Hi.
Miriam Dignazio. And they will be discussing student-centered teaching with AI tools.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to share my desktop and I will present with Miriam. So this is our presentation. This is a two voices presentation because we are two person, and our presentation is learning by creating. Let's get to know each other because we want to learn more about ourselves. Before we start, let me clarify one aspect that is very important. That is, I am not an expert in pedagogy. My background is mathematical. I am a mathematician and I teach technical physics. So you know how far this field are. But my daily work is deeply rooted in engineering and scientific research. However, I am passionate in artificial intelligence and in teaching and learning. Over the past few years, I have been exploring how artificial intelligence can support and enrich the educational process. Our presentation is divided in two parts. The first part is my part, and because I use artificial intelligence for a long time, perhaps I reached a very good experience. I have a couple of pro license because I want to go deeper in some of the tools that Ulisses presented. So, for example, Ulisses and I do not meet each other, but perhaps this is the natural consequences of his presentation. In fact, my part is about how I use to prepare my lesson, artificial intelligence, and the second part, the Miriam part, will present an experiment that we conducted last year and how our student used artificial intelligence. This is Miriam then. Now, if you want, please scan this QR code and reply quickly this first, question, that is, how about you're confident about how much you are confident about perhaps I don't know if I have now. Okay, but now you can. I asked Miriam if he can manage this stuff because okay.
You can click on scan, and
yeah, okay.
Directly.
Yeah, okay, perfect. How we can use artificial intelligence to write text? We have seen a lot of these tools. We can use artificial intelligence to present. Perhaps you know very well something of these, someone of these instruments to generate infographics. For example, Napkins is a very good tool, Snappa and so on, to draw interactive charts and dashboard, and also to create quizzes and surveys. Also to make mini video and to create podcast and so on. But today, I want to share you how I'm now using artificial intelligence, in particular in this part, Notebook LM, to help me in preparing my slides. So now I want to share you my personal notebook. That is this one, if I can, okay. This one is my Notebook LM, and I am so sorry because this part is the script is in Italian, but because this is mine. This is mine. This is how I am using right now. This is the example. In this platform is designed specifically for learning and research, and it can be extremely valuable, in my opinion, because it reduced almost at 10%, at 100% hallucination. That is one of the biggest problem of artificial intelligence. So I upload my lecture. This is my lecture. This is a chapter of a book, a relevant chapter from the textbook. And also I can enrich the notebook with this tool that is find other sources for me. And then I have this part that is an introduction, but then I can produce an overview, an audio overview that is very important for my students. Also an overview of video and the maps. We have seen also the maps, but I want to show you another example that is this one, for example, and my students can go deeper and deeper inside all this stuff. Then I can share, I'm sharing with my students the podcast. So they use the podcast, for example, in train or in their free time. Then we have video outlines and so on. All these materials are then shared on Microsoft Teams, so my student can access them easily. Another valuable feature, in my opinion, is collaboration. In fact, if I share this part, they can use, for example, flashcards. And flashcards for students is very important because then in the exam I have a quizzes. So this is an important part. The second part that I want to present you is Claude, but a part of Claude that is artifact. In fact, artifact, for example, for my side, that is technical physics, is very important for my students. This is my creation. Artifact, in the context of high-end education, artifact is how to say, a custom-built interactive research or an application of generating AI that can help students to visualize some difficult concept that I have in my lessons. And I want to show you some of these examples. This is, for example, the conversion. You can put here, I don't know, 10 meters, and you can convert it in millimeters, temperature, pressure, power, energy, and so on. And this is the referent for the technical physics. Another tool that I prepare to my students is how high humidity is correlated with temperature. It's difficult to understand for my student that humidity is not alone. It's with temperature, and the temperature is very important for humidity. And as you can see in this artifact, when you grow up the temperature or you lower the temperature, the humidity ratio is very high. Another artifact is the cloth that is, if I'm wearing, for example, bra or half split or shoes, and you can see how the clothes is increasing for my lessons is very important, this part. Another part is an HVAC winter air conditioning calculator. So I'm going to put the input parameters, and then it can calculate all the important features. And one more, I have also the step-by-step calculator, so my student can understand very well how it works. Another important is the math calculator and so on. I am preparing a lot of this stuff, but now I want, and I'm finishing because I want to share with you, I think an important thing that, you know, all these, also the Ulisses tools are tools, but they are not alone. I means that perhaps we have to build our educational workflow to boost our lessons. What I mean, for example, I can prepare with Notebook LM the text of my lecture, but then I have to prepare my lectures, my presentation. So I have the text, then I can build it in with some other tools. But for example, I can ask to the Notebook LM to prepare all the questions, but then I have to use another tool to prepare all the other stuff. So what I mean that we have to know all these tools, because we have to understand how to build our workflow. Our workflow is that we have a lot of instruments, but we have to use all single instrument for the power of that single instrument. So this is what I want to share with you. I don't know if I have explained it very well. Please scan again this QR code, because perhaps we can manage better what we have said. Okay. I have finished my part. Now this is the part of Miriam. So I will do not present again.
So here we are. Just give me a second. So while the results is going on in my desktop. So happy that someone of you want to try with implement some of these tools in their own practice. So now I want to show you how we decide to integrate AI in our classroom and teaching experience. At first we want to clarify and tell you why we decide to use AI with our student, because we believe that there's need a personalized experience of the learning experience is really important for students, and also for boost the students' engagement. So here's the activity.
Miriam, sorry, perhaps you have to present. We are seeing also your screen. You have to present because you are not in presentation mode. Okay, perhaps this is the right one.
I don't know. Maybe
we are not seeing.
What do you see?
We see also the note and so on.
You see the presentation?
Perhaps you have to click present. I don't know.
I'm clicking present.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, give me a second.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, perfect.
Okay, so here we are. So here's so I don't see you again, so tell me if something go wrong. So the topic was the convective heat transfer, and we divide this main topic in to many small subtopics. And each student received an individual assignment on a specific narrow subtopic. And for example, one particular aspect of a scenario of convective heat transfer, for example. So their task was to self-learn their subtopic using AI resource with no prior lecture on this specific topic. And at the end, they had to create an educational content to teach their topic to peers, leveraging the learning by teaching effect. So the student enjoyed complete autonomy in selecting AI tools to support their learning and content development. And the tool example included ChatGPT for inquiry, Canva for design, Gemini for research, and so on. And diverse output formats were actually encouraged, like presentation, videos, podcasts, interviews, infographic, illustration, animation, any medium that effectively communicated their topic. And we emphasize creative pedagogy over standardization, actually, and selecting the most appropriate medium for concept delivery rather than imposing uniform requirement. So yeah, and all student-created materials were uploaded to our learning management system by a deadline, of course. And during the subsequent session, we collectively reviewed and discussed all outputs. Each student provided brief explanation, while peers and us thought questions and feedback. The emphasis was on peer learning, and student acquire knowledge from diverse topic and perspective through collaborative discussion. We required students to reflect on both the physics content mastery and their learning process experience. And they identified challenges including AI information verification, prompt optimization, and initial tool selection overwhelm, but they also recognize significant benefits like instant operation, creative inspiration, and self-paced learned. And most of all, the provided nuanced feedback on whether AI enhanced or actually indirect their understanding. Our grading approach was low stakes because every student received just 2 points just for completing the assignment, and no one lost points for trying new things. And this gave students freedom to be creative without any worry. Extra credits was possible only as a small bonus for outstanding work. The results actually exceeded our expectation because students were really creative, clear, and scientifically correct, actually. And they use many different formats like infographic, podcast, video, and comics. And learned a lot from each other just by seeing the different projects. Now I want to try to show you some of these projects quickly. Just a preview of each one. Can you see?
Ciao a tutti.
Can you see?
Yes, yes.
Ciao a tutti, sono Wilhelm Nusselt e oggi voglio parlarvi del numero di Nusselt, un parametro essenziale nel trasferimento di calore, in particolare nella convezione.
For example, this is a student that create a Nusselt speaks with a character that explain actually the Nusselt number with teach to speech tools. This was another student that produced a podcast, like interview
Benvenuti
podcast.
A questo episodio di AI e Scienza.
And was about random number. Another one, it was really nice and turned hand-drawn sketches into animation with After Effects and with physics explanation with Gemini. This one tried to simulate a chat between classmates asking various AI platforms to explain a Nusselt number. And compare the result within different AI tools. So I skipped to the last one because it was the most fun.
Ciao ragazzi, avete mai pensato a come il calore si trasferisce nella stanza quando accendiamo il termosifone? Oggi parliamo di una cosa super interessante che si chiama numero di Nusselt, che ci aiuta.
So these students use a photo of the Professor Pirantozzi to generate an AI speaker. So, present. Okay. Here's the results of a survey that we did with our student, and it was great to see that the satisfaction was really high, and to see that when we ask if AI improved the understanding comparing the traditional method, the 57% said quite a lot. So we are also quite satisfied of this kind of feedback from our student. To conclude, what we learned, at first we learned that AI flipped classroom integration worked exceptionally well, and then the teaching role is evolved. We transitioned from lecturer to guide and coach. Actually, educator preparation is really required, and teacher must learn AI tools to boost the engagement of student. And we clear that guidelines are absolutely essential, and we actually plan to refine and use this method in upcoming course in the next semester. And we encourage all the educators to experiment with AI and implement in their teaching experience. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. That was quite inspiring also for my own teaching. Questions, anyone? Would you like to ask anything? Lots and lots of applause. Okay, thank you very much. And now, before you go, I will just quickly show you what's up next. Sorry, Miriam, sorry, I'm canceling your share now. Don't forget that we have Staff Academy webinars every month. The next one, the 4th of November. And the topic then will be gamification. So if you are interested in sharing your best practices, or your colleagues are, you can go to the INGENIUM website and you will find all the necessary details there. Just contact INGENIUM at Xamk FI if you are interested and want to enroll. So there's one question, I think, if I can see right. Please.
Hi there, Miriam, Mariano. Grazie mille for the presentation. I'm Portuguese, so I'm trying close enough. I really like the presentation. I think it's very, very much similar in terms of what Ulisses also presented. Miriam, I was very intrigued by the results that you shared about the student results. So I'd like to give a question on the two sides of the students. So I see that there are some students who really took a lot of value or perceived a lot of value from AI in terms of their learning and so on. So for those students, my question would be, we know that students might tend to overestimate the perceived value, but my question would be, in the work that you got, did you see that there, compared to previous years when students didn't have access to AI, did you find that that value in the outputs that they've generated for you, the learning assignments and so on? And that's my question for those students. Then I look at the other students who felt that the AI took them an additional time to engage with the learning and didn't really get as much value as other students. So do you have any insights from that particular set of students into maybe more qualitative, like why did it take them more time, or what was the reason for them to not perceive an additional value from engaging with AI? Does that make sense? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, actually, this is the first year that we try to implement this method. So we don't have a lot of. It was like we have the chance just to ask these 4 questions, but we thank you for the advice, and we try to implement this question in next semester and to compare their feedback.
Lovely, thank you. Can I just say that I love the gamified piece with the low stakes question quizzes for them to engage. It's almost like a teaser to the gamification session the next time. But thanks, that is really, really nice.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for your very interesting presentations and active participation. Unfortunately, we are running out of time now, but I hope I will see everybody next month talking about gamification.